Service Butler, ready to serve. Smart solutions you deserve. From calls to jobs, we do it right. The Butler's here, day or night.
They simplify your service, grow with ease. AI solutions for all your needs.
The Home Service Butler here for you. Efficiency and care in all we do. Home Service Butler, simplifying service, empowering success.
Hello, this is Bill with the HomeServiceButler.com, and today we're going to talk about AI. How do we use AI in the Service Butler? Okay, so a lot of people have heard about AI. You've probably played with AI. Everybody uses ChatGPT. They ask questions. But how do we use AI inside your business workflow? How do we use AI to make decisions? The decisions can be several things. Most common decision would be to notify you of something. Another decision would be to adjust your call flow, to switch your phone tree to take a call from your customer service representatives, maybe over to a supervisor. Another action would possibly be to send out a text message to somebody, whether it's a customer or supervisor. A quick example would be customer calls in and they ask about purchasing a new furnace. We could automatically send them a link to our product brochure. Another example would be if somebody requested a supervisor call, that the supervisor could get a text message with all the details for them to review in real time. So that's just a few things we can do with it, and we're just going to describe how we do that and show you how easy it is. All the hard work is done in the back end. So we have an example call here. This is Demo Dan. The overall score. This is reflective of how the customer service rep handled the phone call, right? Overall, did he do a good or bad job? So he did an 8, so that was not bad. The sentiment score, that represents, basically, how did the customer feel about the phone call? Not so much the customer service side, but the customer's perspective. Some other information you see here is, this person has had 7 calls total coming in. So they've called in 7 times. And we've had this job in our system for 1 day. So that's a lot of calls in 1 day. So those are key triggers. So let's look at the details of it here real quick. All right, so what you're looking at here is the call record. This is where the individual call, this is where we store the AI information. So we see here the customer's Demo Dan. We see a recording URL. We could listen to the recording right here. We'll go ahead and just pop that up here real fast.
Good morning, Pastor Conference. You think this document today better? Hey, my name's Bill. I was on Google and I found you guys and just wanted to find out what your availability is and how much it is to come out.
Yeah, I'd be happy to assist here. Could I have your address, please?
It's 123 Demo Street.
Okay, thank you for that.
All right, so there is the call recording. And then this is a transcript of the call right here. And this is basically an AI interpretation through ChatGPT of what was said. A little bit different than a standard, conversation to text type of deal. It actually uses AI to interpret what is said to give you a better transcript. Another important feature here is I have my duration. How long was the phone call? That's kind of a key factor in customer services. How long are we talking to the people on the phone? Are we talking too long, or are we running them off the phone? So this is the call transcript. Then we got the sentiment analysis. This right here, the sentiment analysis, this is what AI felt the customer perceived. A little bit of the customer service side, like it'll address any glaring issues that happened, but for the most part, it's what the customer felt is what AI is kind of looking at here. So this one basically says the sentiment portrayed in the client's text is generally positive and amiable, as the customer bill seems approachable and willing to get service. He doesn't show any negative emotion or attitudes, but rather sounds curious and seeking help. He also expresses satisfaction with the customer service rep's helpfulness. Okay, so that's what AI thought about this call. Then we have AI captured address. So there was an address stated in the phone call. We captured it. We also, for our own purposes, we actually do an AI captured number here. That's because if we have like a home warranty company call in, they usually give us a number that reflects the job. So that's why we have that built in there, so we can attach that to the record automatically. And then if we go down, we have the overall score. Okay, this is the overall score area. We have the positive aspects captured in the call. This is how did our employee do? Availability and willingness relative relieved the employee. Transparency of employee about potential visitation fee. So this is what it thought was positive. What could we do to improve it? AI said that we could be more detailed in time frames. Yeah, most likely we did a 30-minute call ahead, so that was right in the money. So if we go further down, we're actually going to rate the customer service reps on several different aspects of how they handled the call. Because you're going to have some customer service reps that are, real super professional, but they're not very empathetic. So if you get that customer on the line that has a problem, there may not be your best, person to handle that call because quite honestly, they're just, they're not very empathetic. They're, just, everything's the same. They don't show emotion in the phone call. So we're going to score each call based on several different factors. We got politeness, communication skill, problem resolve, empathy. It's important. When somebody calls up and they bought a new furnace and gosh forbid they had a problem, we got to be able to empathize with them. Hey, Ms. Jones, I'm sorry you're having issues. Just rest assured, we're going to be out there immediately to take care of it for you. And we have several of these, and these can be adjusted for your personal needs. But this is what we use for us, and it seems to work great. Then we have an overall comment. So how do we take this information and make the home service butler do something for you, right? Like how does that happen? I'll go ahead and show you. All right, so right here we have the 2 call records from Demo Dan. One was not answered and one was complete. So we're going to go up here and we're going to make a filter first. What this is this allows us to test our triggers. So I want to find out when I filter something, what do I get? So what I want to do is I want to make a filter here. And I usually get a lot of when I make a filter, a lot of times I'll grab information directly out of the call because AI is pretty consistent with what words it uses. Like it says bye-bye. A lot of times when they say bye, it's not necessarily bye-bye, but AI interprets it as bye-bye. So some of the things you'll see how it interprets stuff is really a cut and paste scenario. That way you get the most results. You can type in your own variation of how you think the word is going to be interpreted, but just keep on top of it. I found it best to take it right out of the call transcripts and then do some filters to find out how accurate it is, and then build your trigger. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And what I want to do is I want to build a trigger, or first a filter, that addresses anybody that asks for a supervisor. But most specifically, that asks for a supervisor when the customer is demoed in. Okay? We're going to go ahead and make our filter first. And we're going to call that supervisor 2. First condition, this is under all conditions. This has to happen. Okay? And I'll explain it to you a little better. So the first condition has to happen. The second condition can or cannot happen. So you could have multiple ones here, and I'll show you real quick what that means. So call transcript contains a supervisor. So that has to happen. Now the customer name equals contains. There's a difference between equals and contains from this perspective. All right, so contains means it just has to have the word demo in it. Equals means it has to only have demo in it. Not equal to, right? Does that make sense? All right, so these are pretty easy. Now we can also make an option here. So we can also make the customer name contain Mike. So basically how this will work is this. If a supervisor is mentioned in a phone call, and the customer name is either Mike or Demo. One of the two, it doesn't have to be both. It could be Demo or it could be Mike. It's going to create an action. If neither one of these names are attached to the job record, nothing's going to happen. So this is our filter. This is going to tell us if this will work. So I'm saving it. Okay, we have one record up here that says this. So basically what that means is this would have triggered. Now keep in mind, this is filtering 40,000 call records, and boom, just that fast, it read everything, found the words, popped it right up. So this works really, really fast. Okay, so this is how we created a filter to test our trigger. We know it's going to work, right? Because the filter showed it. So now we're going to go here and get into the magic. CRM settings, workflows, create a new workflow, supervisor 2. I might already have one labeled that. Okay, so we need to go to here to target module. And we're going to go to events. That's where the phone call records are stored. Status is active or inactive. Obviously, active means it's working. Inactive means we would build it, but it wouldn't be working right now. Then we have triggers. Event creation means the very first time we get a call record, that's the only time we're going to do this. So if the same customer, Demo Dan, calls in and says supervisor, um, it's going to do it just the first time it happens. This is event updated, includes creation, so it's going to happen the first time. It's also going to happen every additional time. We have time interval, so we can set this trigger to work timely. So that means, hourly. So every hour it's going to look at the call records, find out if any call records meet that criteria, and then boom, do it. We don't use hourly a lot for most of the AI triggers, just because we want that information now, not later. So we're going to leave it back where it's at. Reoccurrence, only the first time conditions are met, or every time, which is similar to this, except this is more based on the creation of a record as opposed to a record that's continually being used. So let's go ahead and create our conditions here. So the call transcript contains, now you'll notice we have this box pop up here. The reason is we can actually make this more dynamic than just having the word supervisor. Okay, because this is pretty static. It has to be supervisor. But we could actually make this adjust based off of other aspects of a call and or other modules. So we can go here to field. We can go through all these fields and it'll auto populate what is said. So we could actually just go to customer name. So every time a customer name popped in there, no matter what the customer name was, it would automatically trigger. So that's just an example of how we can make it a little bit more dynamic. And then we have expressions. This allows us to do math, time differences. So if we want to put delays in something, we can use this to kind of build some more stuff in. But we're just going to go ahead and leave it nice and simple as supervisor. All right, so again, this has to happen. And then any condition here is customer name, All right, so on this trigger, it's not going to pull off customer name because of the logic. So we need to go ahead and find a different way to do it. All right, so it's going to read the name of the customer inside the call transcript. The reason that is done this way is because every condition on the triggers are built off a logic workflow, and sometimes if you don't have the exact filter that you tried to use in the previous module, you can just go down to another selection to get the same end result. Then basically we now need to find out what is the system going to do. We've had these two conditions met. We asked for a supervisor. Demo was the customer name. Now what do we want? What do we want the Home Service Butler to do for you? This is where we add an action. So on this one, first thing I want to do is I want to notify a supervisor. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say this. A supervisor. And I want to know what was said because, why go dig into it when I can just listen to it on the phone, right? Recording URL right there. We put a phone number in it. We label it. Right there, call supervisor. So we can add our fields right there, and we're saving it. Okay, so we're going to send a text message out to automatically notify the supervisor we got a problem. They get the text message, they can just click the URL, and they can listen to the problem. Then they can make a decision. So they could be on lunch. They're never going to miss these. So we also want to do one other thing. We've notified the supervisor, but now I want to ensure that if that customer does call back in again, that they do not go to my customer service side. They are going to go to the supervisor's phone. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to update fields inside the record. What I want to do is I want to go to the assign to. and I want to assign it to a supervisor. Test 3 is a supervisor. So what's going to happen is it's going to make a text message at the same time, really. I mean, it'll do one of these first, but I think it's instantaneous practically. Then it's going to update the field. It's going to assign this to a supervisor. So when that customer calls back in, he's no longer going to go to the customer service side. He's going to go directly to the supervisor's phone. And here, our supervisors have a voicemail that says, hey, this is Bill with Fast Response Heating and Cooling. I'm a supervisor. I'm sorry I'm away from my phone. I'll call you back immediately. So the customer is going to be like, wow, that was cool. I mean, they've automatically been switched where they need to be. Then you're able to save this. I'm not going to save it because I got several hundred filters built up that trigger many AI actions here. So I'll just give you an idea here. We have 107 AI triggers built in to control all of our business practices and flows, and they're pretty complicated. And you're not going to be building filters this big off the rip. I'll be helping you get that set up. But this one right here is basically communicating with the customer. If all these conditions are met, we're going to assign it to a certain group. And it may look complicated, but once you get used to it, you'll quickly be able to address this and be able to move your calls around in real time. So they get pretty complicated, but they don't have to be. It just so happens that we do this all day, every day, so we're going to build the more complicated ones for you. But that's just until you get good at it. I have no problem putting these together. I can do some of the biggest filters and triggers you can imagine in a couple days. So just another example here. So dispatch label is large NCC, assigned to is not sales group Kentucky, priority routing is not problem or install. What this basically means is every time somebody calls in that has a larger out-of-pocket expense than they thought they were going to get, it's going to automatically send that phone call to a salesperson in that region, because that's who they need to talk to. Because they have a really old unit, they have a $3,000 bill to fix a 1985 AC. They don't need to talk to customer service. They need to talk to a salesman, because it doesn't make sense to spend that much money on an old unit. So that call's automatically going to be routed to the sales group in Kentucky. And how the sales groups work, and I'll get into this a little bit more, but just to show you how we kind of set that up, is right here. Users, leave, users, groups. We set the groups up here. So Kentucky Sales Group, if you click on it, you can add members to the group. And all these people, their phone will ring. So we'll get into the groups here in a little bit, but this is how we assign people to receive phone calls. All right, I appreciate everybody's time and listening to a little bit of AI talk here with the Home Service Butler, and we look forward to getting your system set up and automating your sales processes. Thank you.